What's up, Bachelor Happy Hour listeners? I cannot believe we have reached the end of Paradise. It seems at times it was a long time coming, and at times it seems like it just absolutely flew by. But Tia, I am so glad that you have been here by my side to recap each and every week. I couldn't have done this without you.
Oh, it definitely made it go by way better. It's bittersweet. It has been so nice doing this with you, and I'm so excited for our guest today.
I know. I can't wait. We have the happily engaged couple, Joe and Serena, the king and queen themselves, hopping on very shortly. But until then, Tia and I have to go over, absolutely everything that went down in this finale because it was a long one. It was 3 hours.
I cried a few times.
I did too.
It was emotional. It was good.
It truly was. And I'm not really that much of a crier, but seeing these three couples who are not only in love, but who have become close friends and like family of ours, it was really special because, you and I were there with them day in and day out for most of the time until that very last day. And obviously, like, since then, we've talked to them. We've been able to hear their side. But until you're actually watching it back and witnessing what they say to each other and seeing the guys get down on one knee, I had chills so many times. I was tearing up. I was holding Minnow on the couch, just squeezing her so tight.
It was so special to see it in person up close, but also to see those sweet moments that we wouldn't get to see otherwise. It was a bittersweet for me to leave single, of course, and with you and Thomas having your ending. But I'm honestly so, so happy for all the couples that left together. It's just so nice to see and so amazing to see this franchise work because I know it can. And it did.
It did. I remember that not even the last day, like you and I had already left Mexico and one of the producers, one of my friends texted me and all she sent were the 3 diamond emojis. And I was like, shut the front door, 3 engagements, because, you never know. Like we all knew how strong all 3 of those last couples were. But you get down to that day and you don't know. One of the couples could have had cold feet. So I was maybe expecting 2 couples to get engaged, not all 3. So when I got that text, I think I was on the airplane because I had a super long delay coming back to the Midwest. I think I screamed. And the guy next to me on the plane was like, what the hell?
Well, I know Serena wasn't expecting it either. I feel like Serena was like, I would actually be shocked if Joe proposed. So just seeing it all play out was so special. Okay,
so I recently indulged in some online shopping at Saks Off 5th, and that shopping experience did not disappoint because I not only was able to stock up on some new, soft, cozy, comfy pieces for the fall, but I also was able to get some incredible home decor that I cannot wait to show you when I give the full grand tour of my new place. Now, you can get Saks style for less and for up to 70% off of full price. You can shop designer discounts across clothing, shoes, handbags, beauty, and more. They have great designer brands like Ganni, Staud, Stuart Weitzman, and more, but for less money. So whether you need new looks for going back to the office or you just want to refresh your wardrobe for the season, you can shop the latest fall trends at Saks Off 5th now. New styles arrive every day. Experience the thrill of an amazing designer find at SaksOff5th.com or at a store near you. You can visit www.SaksOff5th.com to check it out. Again, that's www.SaksOff5th.com. And let's just get into those last moments because obviously we'll have Joe and Serena on to pick their brains and to kind of relive that last day. But you and I are friends with Kendall, and we had no idea that she was still there. We had no idea she had been in Mexico since she left and that she went down that last day. I had texted her when I got my phone back and I didn't hear from her for a couple days. And I was like, what the heck? Like, does she just need time away from the franchise? What's going on? And then she texted me a few days after that and was like, so I stayed till the end and had a conversation with Joe. And I was like, no way, what? And
so she was probably sitting in her room for what, a week? Close to a week,
maybe.
Waiting to do
Longer
that?
than a week, yeah. Yeah.
I really didn't know what she was going to say. I was like, she's either going to give her blessing or just be like, hey, I'm still into you. Don't do this. And I had to watch like through my fingers. I was nervous.
Yeah. I just knowing Kendall, though, I know how hard it is. And she's such a strong woman. And she never wants to, I think, burden anyone else. And I think she is so respectful that she, as hard as it was for her to fully and completely let Joe and what they had in their past relationship go, I think in her heart of hearts, she knew it was the right thing to do. And she just, I know walking down that day, people thought like she was there to break up this engagement and break up Joe and Serena. And I don't think that was her intention. I really think she just went to give her full blessing and be like,
yeah,
here you go, my little bird, now fly.
Right. I know. I'm glad Joe didn't get too distracted either, because I know that can rattle you a little bit to see someone you had something so long and special with right before you're going to propose.
Oh, Lord.
I can't imagine.
But Joe handled it well. I also actually did love Serena's reaction when they were standing up there in those last moments. And Joe's like, yeah, actually, my ex just showed up. And Serena's like, what? Are you lying? Like, are you kidding? But it was sweet because her first reaction was to see if he was okay.
Right.
Not how she was feeling, but she was like, are you doing okay? How are you? And I thought that was really sweet. It just is a testament to who they are as a couple in their relationship and how much they care about each other. So, seeing all of those couples have those last conversations in the fantasy suites was something really special. I mean, we saw 2 seconds of all of it. I'm sure they had so much more time to just talk and unwind and like really let loose of everything they had wanted to talk about. I mean, I remember the fantasy suites, how important they were.
Right.
So it's a pivotal moment, but I mean, the entire episode was filled with so much. Like we started
the very beginning was kind of rough with Noah and Abigail.
We see that breakup take place. We see Abigail, kind of break down. It's like, I mean, cat's out of the bag now. They're happy. They're back together.
I love that it showed that at the end.
I want to get into the epilogue too, but before that, let's just go through everything. Yeah, so we kick off still at prom. Abigail and Noah leave separate. They left early. I remember waking up the next day and it just felt, obviously each week the group gets smaller and smaller, but it just felt really somber that morning. Obviously, Dean and Caelynn came in and said that Paradise is done. You have big decisions to be made. But even before that conversation took place, like the beach felt weird, right?
Yeah. Well, we went into a rose ceremony too, didn't we? The next day.
Oh, yeah. That was the day where it was like very quiet. Noah was such a character.
Strange.
Noah was always laughing and like the loud, funny one out of the group. And so to not have them there just felt really bizarre, kind of.
Yeah. And the cocktail party was canceled too.
Mm-hmm.
And Wells comes in and is like, okay, this is the end of Paradise. You need to have serious conversations. And I'm like, I just got a rose from this buffoon, Aaron. And you think we're going to have serious conversations and then Paradise is going to be over? Like, what is actually going on?
That was that last week for you, Tia, was so random. You went through the ringer. You were just up and down and all over the place, but you kept such a good sense of humor. I mean, like, even until the last day, the very last conversation you and Aaron had.
I had yoga pants on. I was ready for my flight. I'm like, can someone book me a flight out of here? I'm ready to go. I'm not having a serious conversation.
You were ready to break up with him. All of us girls were chatting. You're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to end things. I'm going to tell him he's a nice guy and that I wish him the best. But like, we're just not for each other.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden he runs in and pulls you a whole 7 feet. And I remember sitting there watching it. And all of us girls, you were like, what the hell? You're doing this right now? It was the fastest conversation. And watching Aaron and James leave together, we were like, this makes sense.
That was
the entire
legit.
season.
That actually happened.
It was.
And they were happy for it to happen.
And no one was really shocked that happened. Of course, It's like funny and comedic and we're all like, what the hell just happened? But I don't think any of us were like, oh, we can't believe that.
No, it wasn't shocking. Not at all. Not at all. All you can do is laugh. Had you and Thomas split or what?
We were one of the last breakups.
Oh,
I know they showed it first, but him and I went last. So Anna and James had already had their conversation. You and Aaron had already quickly exchanged 7 words. So you were gone. And I wasn't expecting Thomas to come pull me when he did. I thought I was going to have way more time because I was so up and down of like, what the hell am I going to do right now? How do I even approach this conversation? Right. And so I was really kind of shocked when he pulled me. It was just such a weird day. I feel like my headspace was so off. Obviously, we see me end things with him. It was really tough. I know it showed that conversation seemed very brief, like it didn't seem that long, but we actually talked for quite some time.
Well, it's very serious at the end. It feels very real. And you have gone through this process multiple times before, and you're like, hey, if I'm not 100% sure, I'm not doing this. And I totally get it. And I think Joe made a comment too about you had 2 very public breakups, and it's just scary to think about having to do that again.
Yeah. And that's something that I was very upfront the entire time with everyone of like, if I don't feel 100% confident in my relationship or whatever partner I have in this, like I'm fine with choosing myself at the end and
Right.
leaving. And it was like this weird, I was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's like I needed more of him. And in that very, very last conversation was when I actually got that. And I felt like in that moment, it was too little too late. But the one thing, well, 2 things that stuck with me was he was like, I don't want you to have any what ifs. And of course, after him kind of opening up and breaking down and actually really saying how he felt about me and about like where he thought our relationship was and that he wanted to pursue something out of this, that's when I was like, oh, like he's actually really like serious and wants to do this. But I was already like, my mind had already been made up. And so that's why I ran after him, because I was like, I don't want him to think that this was just like a quick summer fling and that the feelings weren't there. Like,
right.
And when he hugged me goodbye, it was heavy. And so I left and he was like, have faith in me, just like pick me, choose me, have faith in us. And no man has ever fought like that before. Like usually when you get to the end of a breakup, they're like, okay, go on your merry way. Like no guy has been like, pick me, you know, like the scene in Grey's Anatomy, we're like, pick me, choose me, be with me. That's how it felt. And I was like, oh, okay. So I came back to the hotel. Tia and I had to sleep over that night because I was so sad. I got to the hotel and that's like when I really broke down after.
Yeah, I just want to say, he's not the only one that was emotional. You were very emotional. There was black stains on the bed. I was like, what is this? And you were like, that's my mascara. I've been crying. The bed was soaked. I'm like, my little baby.
Yeah,
this was hard on her.
Yeah, you see some tough breakups. I mean, the Anna McKenna one.
Oh, mercy.
It was like, God bless him for trying. I think all of us knew it wasn't going to work out, but you got to give the man props.
I really thought he was going to convince her. He just kept going. I was like, he is going to convince this girl.
He's a good salesman. He convinced her to go onto her date. Mm-hmm. He invited himself onto her date. He convinced her in that moment. And then, yeah, he's good with his words. He's such a sweetheart. I think ultimately with them, though, is she knew. She's like, look, I've known you for less than a week. I live in Canada. You live in Florida. This isn't going to work.
Right.
So, yeah, they break up. Obviously, James and Anna ended things. I
didn't really see that one coming.
No, I thought James and Anna were going to try to continue something outside of it.
Or at least say, hey, let's see how this works outside of this. I don't think she expected that.
So those were mainly it for the breakups. And then we see the 3 happy couples. God, it's just weird thinking that it's already done. Like,
I know, it's nuts. It's freaking nuts. And just to think, too, it is such a short period of time, but it's so crazy and cool to see these couples get so close. And they all said, I love yous.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. I know Kenny, I wrote down, he said several times he was worried about his age gap with Mari. Mm-hmm. And then Riley kept messing with Marissa.
I love that.
I was like, I want to slap him for messing with her like that because he knows she stresses the hell out. Mm-hmm. But Joe and Serena made me cry every time they were on screen.
Yeah, it's just... Every couple is so different, too. It's like they all have this really strong love and these great connections and relationships, but they're all vastly different. And to go into, I know, I want to talk quickly about the whole Kenny Mari age difference, because I've seen a lot on social media and just out there about people just kind of bashing the age difference. And realistically, like,
Joe
we're
and Serena
all
have
adults.
An age difference too.
There's an age difference, yeah, between, I mean, a lot of the couples on the beach, and like at the end of the day, we're all adults. Like, we all pick and choose who we want to be with, when we want to be with them. Like, my parents had a 9-year or an 11-year. They had a big age gap too, close to a decade age gap, and they had a beautiful relationship. And with all of those last 3 couples, like, they're all very mature. Even though Serena's only 23, she is one of the most mature.
You would not know it.
No, exactly.
She's
I would
so
never
well
have guessed.
spoken.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, age is just a number. It's just I don't think it needs to hinder any sort of relationship. But I am glad that Kenny brought it up because he did make a good point. He's like, I don't want her to feel like she's ever missing out on her single 20s and 30s. But
right.
Mari's also very mature. It's
already unconventional anyways.
Exactly.
Like an age gap doesn't even mean anything when you get engaged after.
This is the weirdest social experiment that anyone can ever go through. So, a 10-year age difference is nothing compared to everything else we go through.
And it works.
Yes. And with that, we'll see firsthand just how much it works when we bring Joe and Serena on to Bachelor Happy Hour right now. Now, I've never been one to want to paint my nails at home, basically because they not only look like a 2-year-old painted them, but they always seem to chip. But I have found the perfect solution with the Olive & June Mani system, which is the secret behind salon perfect nails at home. I've been using the Olive & June Mani system for a few months now, and not only does it come with a huge variety of colors, but the whole system can be done in 5 simple steps. Not only does the polish look amazing, but the poppy is so great and easy to apply. The Olive & June Mani system is also so affordable. It comes with 6 different polishes, which breaks down to just $2 per mani. That's so much less than I used to spend on a gel manicure in the salon. And the polish was so shiny and didn't chip. And now you can get 20% off your first Mani system with our code BACHELOR. Your new nail life is here. Get 20% off your first Mani system when you use promo code BACHELOR at oliveandjune.com. That's 20% off by using promo code BACHELOR. We're done with the expensive bad manis. This is the new us now, okay? What better way to welcome the fall season than with new shoes? I've been wearing Rothy's for a few years now and have always loved their sneaker style. Not only is it the most comfortable pair of shoes that I own and wear, but I also get so many compliments when I rock them. For the 3rd year in a row, Rothy's is launching an exclusive autumn collection featuring washable merino wool styles. They're comfortable, cozy, and 100% machine washable. Plus, they come in a variety of colors, patterns, and styles. And there's good news for any guys listening right now because Rothy's aren't just for women anymore. Rothy's men's line features the same level of craftsmanship as the Rothy's women's line. It's no wonder Rothy's best-selling shoe, the Point in Black, has more than 5,000 near-perfect reviews. To help welcome fall season in style, Rothy's is doing something special. That's right, they gave us the chance to share this super rare opportunity with our listeners for a limited time. Right now, you can get $20 off your first purchase at rothys.com/BHH. That's ROTHYS.com/BHH. Head to rothys.com/BHH to find your new favorites today. Okay, you two, welcome to Bachelor Happy Hour. Serena, we've had you on before, but Joe, this is your first time. Tia and I have been raving about you while we've been recapping because you guys obviously have been one of the fan favorites of this entire season, but we just love the two of you so damn much. So we're so excited to have you sit down. To begin, welcome. Show off that ring, Serena.
Yay, you can finally wear it.
It is so big. You also just have like very tiny fingers to begin with. That is stunning. You guys look great.
When I put it on, I was like, I have to make sure this doesn't slip off because it wasn't sized and it was so big on my finger. And I was also like shaking.
Oh. Did you pick the design or Joe, did you pick it out?
I picked it.
I didn't pick anything. I gave him no guidance or advice. So he did really good.
We didn't really have pre-conversations about engagement rings because we just didn't think it was going to happen.
Yeah, Serena was like, no, I'd be shocked if we got engaged. Surprise.
Yes. And I'm still shocked 4 months later.
Yeah, because Tia and I were talking. I think, expected Kenny and Mari and Marissa and Riley to get engaged. You were always like the one on the fence, Joe. We knew how strong you two were together and how much you cared about her, but I don't think we expected you to actually get down on one knee. When was that moment, that last day, where it clicked and you're like, yep, I'm doing it. I'm getting that ring and I'm proposing to this woman?
Yeah, well, I had said the whole time that I wouldn't leave unless I saw a real future with someone. So then when we get down to like the ending days and we separated after the fantasy suites, I was like, I truly think I'm going to spend the rest of my life with her. So then I was like, is it crazy to get engaged. Well, sure, it is. I mean, the idea of getting engaged in a few weeks and on national television is crazy, but the whole process isn't normal. And it's worked before and it's working again. And it just felt right. And it felt really romantic. So I did it.
You
It
can
was
tell
so
through
romantic.
the screen too that it's so authentic and real, and it's just the best freaking thing ever. It makes my heart so warm.
Oh,
Mhm.
thank you.
Well, that's what we're trying to do.
Okay. I want to get into the last night, the fantasy suites and the engagement, but first I want to take it back to the very beginning because Joe, we knew you were going to go to Paradise. We obviously didn't quite know how it was going to go the second time around for you. And even when I came down a week later, you were like, I was ready to leave at first. It was really tough. So take us back walk us through your mindset when you first arrived on Paradise. Like, what ultimately made you want to come back the second time around?
So, yeah, I would say to go on Paradise, I thought, okay, well, I'm single. It worked before. Why not? I've been here before. It's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what it's like to have to talk about your feelings and push yourself to have uncomfortable conversations and do all that. Like, I completely forgot what that was like.
And to see
Mhm.
that same exact environment where you knew you had fell in love before is just the trippiest deja vu ever.
Yes. Yeah, it really is. And I call it an ego. I was like, I know everyone there. This is going to be fun for me. I'm not going to fall in love. Like, it could happen, but it probably won't. And then as soon as I got down there, it all came, flooding back. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this does work and this could work. And then my conversation with Serena, I remember like being so flustered and thinking I could fall for this girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what it's like to fall for somebody on this show because it's not an easy road. It's not just, it's going to be smooth sailing. So, I panicked.
Day one, you thought that was Serena? First day?
Day one, yeah. Day one. That's why I was so flustered. If you see in the interviews of me, like, I should have cut my hair. Why didn't I cut my hair? All the nonsense was really because I knew it could potentially work with her and I was trying to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And it did work.
And it did work.
baby.
Look at that.
Yeah, it did.
Not only is the ring huge, but your smiles, you guys, you are both just glowing. Joe, I want to ask you this because I think you and I had a similar mindset where we went in, we're like, we're going to have fun. We're going to have, you know, hot girl, hot boy summer, enjoy it. I don't think either one of us expected to fall like we did or have those strong emotions for somebody else, especially you right away. Do you kind of compare? Okay, I've always heard people say this, like when they have a baby and they go into labor, obviously it's probably the most painful experience they could ever go through. But then once they have that baby, they're like, oh, it was the best thing I've ever done. You kind of forget the pain and you just look at like the beauty of what it is. Is that kind of, would you say your mindset going in of like, you looked at the shiny positive sides and then once you were down there, you're like, oh shit, this really could hurt again?
Yeah, 100%. I actually did it. We did it yesterday where I looked at an old Bachelor in Paradise photo. I said, it was so easy being back there, but during it, it really wasn't. And that's definitely what I did. And I would also say, Becca, you and I are very similar in why I think the process does work for us, because it only really works when you completely let go and you just let go and you let it happen. And I did that right away, as you saw in the first episode of me freaking out.
Right. I think when you go in with no expectations, like I think some people go in and they're like, I'm going to find my partner. I'm going to get engaged. I'm going to get that ring and all the things. And that's where sometimes it goes wrong because there's so much pressure. And so, yeah, when you kind of just let go and let it be and take it day by day, that's when you're very pleasantly surprised. Speaking of expectations, Serena, when you came in, what were your expectations walking through the gates of Paradise? Because obviously you made it very far on Matt's season, so you knew that it worked to a certain extent. But what did you hope would be the outcome for you when you first stepped foot on that beach?
I mean, I think I definitely went in optimistic. I was for sure feeling ready to enter a serious relationship. So I had that going for me. But there's obviously that skepticism. I mean, I felt that the environment of Paradise, having that unlimited time, getting to talk to all these people, like the structure of it was probably a little bit more up my alley than maybe the structure of The Bachelor was. And as much as it didn't work for me on The Bachelor, I did make it far enough that I was like, this could work for me. But yeah, I kind of just went in with an open mind. Like I was like, you know what? If I leave single and I don't find my person, that's okay. And if I find someone and I really fall for them, then amazing. That'll be great too. But you can't really predict how it's going to go until you get down there and you start meeting people and actually seeing if there's someone that you have that connection with. Because I really don't think you can force anything.
Well, so we obviously know, just talking to Joe right now, that he was smitten with you. He was, I would say, caught off guard with how he felt right away in that connection. Did you feel that right away after talking with him too? Or did you need some more time, some more conversations to feel that spark with him?
Choose your words wisely.
Joe's smirking over there.
I definitely felt it right away. I mean, I would say it took us a couple days, like after our first one-on-one days, I think when we were both like, whoa, this could really be something. But after our first conversation, I was very smitten. Like, I think I said in multiple interviews, like, I've talked to so many people today. There's so many great guys here, but Joe's the one that gives me butterflies. I don't know what it is, but he gives me that like giddy, nervous, excited feeling that I want to have that I hadn't had in a really long time until I talked to him. And it's so ironic because he was so flustered and just freaking out during our first conversation, but I found it so endearing and just very genuine.
But I used that to my benefit. I knew what I was doing.
You're right. It was all a master plan.
It wasn't, but to an extent.
Look, I would say you were just yourself.
Yeah.
Like you weren't pretending you were fine when you were freaking out. You were just like, I'm freaking out and I'm being awkward. And that's who you are as a person.
Yeah, that's who I am.
Yeah.
And I know how to, yeah.
And you just own it.
With some sort of strategy. Is that okay?
I kind of want to, but just go.
Listen, Serena, I sent his ass home night one.
Sandals for you?
It was not. It was definitely not the socks with the sandals. I will say that right now.
Noted. It's a staple. I love it.
First of all, the socks and the sandals.
Not my favorite.
The first day, I cut my foot on a rock. So then my foot was rubbing up against the sandal and it was making it very uncomfortable. But then besides that, okay, the one night when we said we were falling in love with each other and I wore the long socks and the sandals, that night, I took a really nice shower. I was really comfortable and I just wanted to feel like I was back at home. And the side, my feet were finally dry. So the socks, pulling them up with the sandals. And I just felt like tonight I'm going to relax. It's going to be a nice night. I had something really sweet planned for Serena, and I'm going to feel like I'm in my living room opposed to on a beach.
And how did that work out for you?
It worked.
It worked.
I think it did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Serena took the lead. It's fine.
You're right. I said I was falling in love while you were wearing socks and sandals. So apparently he was doing something right.
Yeah.
Serena, when you saw him walk down with those socks, was there any part of you that was like, maybe I shouldn't tell him I'm falling in love with him in this moment?
I mean, no, but I didn't know I was going to say it. Like there was it was very in the moment, but I mean, I wouldn't say the socks and sandals helped you in any way.
You know, that was funny too. I didn't know she was going to say it either. I was truly surprised when she said it.
Yeah, there was definitely like a couple beats of silence where he was just like, really? No way.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
When he said it back and you were shocked too, you could tell that was a sincere, real moment. And it was so special to watch. I've said that about 10 times already, but it was so special to watch.
Yeah, it was definitely special for us to watch back because that was a huge moment for us and obviously super romantic with the setup and everything like that. And I didn't know I was going to say it as much as I knew I was feeling it. So when it came out, it was like spur of the moment. I was crazy nervous to tell him because I genuinely didn't know what he was going to say, but I kind of just came to terms with like, if he doesn't say it back, I took the risk. I put myself out there and he knows how I feel. And it was just awesome. You said it back. Like, I hate using the word awesome, but that's just, I was so
super
super
awesome, amazing.
But it was really romantic. It was a big moment.
Yeah. And it was very much a real life moment. It felt because, you know, when you're on these shows, there is a lot that, it's not that the show's set up, but you like set up the moment or you go in there knowing a little bit of what you're going to say. And like, it was just really like, whoa, this is shocking, but okay. Yeah, I feel it too.
Yeah. what I love about you two, and Serena, I think you had alluded to this in something you said last night after you got engaged, of like, you two are some of the most logical people on that beach. And I think for me as a friend and as a viewer, you guys had this great balance of logic and being real versus like, you also are not versus, but like combined with this romance. And I feel like even though you were both kind of unsure of where you were at feeling wise, you always still landed on the same page and still supported each other. And you were always there, whether you knew it like right at the moment or not. You both had this safe place to land with each other, which Joe, I mean, when you say like it was just real, like we felt that, because like just the shock and the awe and the excitement that you both shared in those little moments, not only when you were saying you're falling in love with each other, but when you're actually in love with each other, which Serena, props to you, girl, for always beating him to the punch. I'm proud of you for that one.
Thanks. I really just lost my filter a couple times this season, apparently.
That's what happens when you fall in love. It's just like word vomit and you just like can't keep it, pent up. I want to know, and this is something that Tia and I touched on in the recap, is there's not only with you two, but with other couples on the beach, there's been such a conversation around the age difference between some of the couples. Is that something that has ever bothered you? It seems like from my standpoint, it hasn't, but I'm sure those are conversations you two have had, but was it something ever in the back of your mind where like, oh, this is weird? Or are you just like, it's good, it's okay?
I think that the age differences, we've had different perspectives on it. Like, it hasn't phased you at all, even from the beginning.
No, I'm also very youthful. I think I am. Yeah. So it doesn't really bother me at all.
Joe, you are youthful, but you're like you have this youth like in a grandpa's like curmudgeon body sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know how to take that.
It's the accent.
In a grandpa's curmudgeon body? What the fuck is that supposed to mean? There's no way that's a compliment. I have a body like an 18-year-old. No, I would say, honestly, age really is just a number, and it is a maturity thing. And the way Serena handled my ex coming to the beach in such a mature way, and if I found it extremely attractive. And I would say I am somewhat immature, so I think it like matches up perfectly.
I was going to say, I'm 12, so you guys are great.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I've never dated someone 11 years older than me. I never expected to. I don't know if outside of Paradise, that's something I would have felt maybe comfortable doing, but Paradise really kind of gives you the opportunity to put those details aside, and you're really just spending all this time together. Like, age really does become just a number.
Mm-hmm.
On the way back from the hotel after we got shut down, I remember you thinking, I'm going to have to tell my parents I'm with a man that's 12 years older than me. What am I going to tell my parents? And I'm like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, that was definitely a part of one of many conversations I had with them.
Mm-hmm. Which I do want to get into, because you did make a comment last night after you were already engaged, where you're like, my parents are going to kill me. How, and we'll get into all of the details of the engagement, but how has it been? Joe, I'm assuming you've met them now, and have they embraced this relationship, or are they still kind of waiting to see how you guys handle the real world?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I have met them. They're lovely people. They're also very logical, real world people. So I think it's hard to completely understand it when you've never gone through something like this. So, I'm just like, we're here for you. I get it. Like, I don't expect them to open me with open arms. Like, we love you. You don't know me. So I think it's going to take time, and I respect that. And I just told them, like, I love your daughter. There's really not much more to it than that. But
that's all they could want as
yeah.
parents.
Yeah, I think my parents definitely see that I'm happy, I'm in love. I know they're going to grow to love Joe also. But yeah, just like you said, they're very logical, practical people. And I think when they envisioned me getting engaged, they expected to be a bigger part of it, as you typically would be in the real world, I guess you could call it.
Mm-hmm.
But so, yeah, it was a shock for sure when we told them. But they are so loving and so supportive. And yeah, it's just going to take a little time for them to get used to, I think.
Mm-hmm. My skin has been all over the place between traveling and moving to a new city last year. My skin has been extra dry lately, and it's always so frustrating. But thankfully, I found Curology, and whether you're trying to take control of acne or if your bigger concerns are fine lines, dark spots, or occasional breakouts, Curology will customize a prescription formula with 3 active ingredients picked for you to tackle your skincare needs. With Curology, it's really easy to get your treatment plan. You just start by answering some questions online about your skin and sending in a couple selfies to Curology. Then it matches you with a licensed dermatology provider who gets to know your skin. The quiz was so quick, it only took me about a couple minutes. I submitted the photos and I was good to go. And since then, I've been using Rothy's for a few months now, and I absolutely love it. After you do the quiz online, Curology sets you up with a personalized treatment plan that ships your custom formula right to your door. Take control of acne, dark spots, breakouts, or whatever your unique concerns may be with a powerful skincare treatment made for you today. Go to Curology.com/bachelor for a free 30-day trial, and you just pay for shipping and handling. That's CUROLOGY.com/bachelor to unlock your free 30-day trial. See Curology.com for all of the details. Well, and it's one thing being able to meet, because you guys were in hiding for these past couple of months. It's been a while since you've actually gotten engaged. And so it's one thing to be living kind of in this limbo world where you can't go out in public. You can't even say his name in public. Your parents can't say his name. So I think now is when your relationship truly starts, where the families can meet and you can walk down the street together and they can see you and how you treat each other in real life, which I think is really important, which is really special. I mean, coming from somebody who's gone through it now, like this is the moment where it's like it begins to feel real. And it's like, this is the special time where you're like, okay, we can actually start our life now.
Yeah. We are so excited. I'm so excited.
Like, what's the first thing?
Get out of hiding. I want to go to a restaurant. Like, this is the highlight of the last couple months.
That was a good part of the episode too, when you were like, we just want to go eat together and go to the grocery store and do normal things. Yeah. It's so weird how abnormal those things seem in that environment, but those are special day-to-day things you're going to have to do forever.
Yeah, like I just keep saying, like, we didn't do anything in a wrong order. We just did things in a different order. So it's like you take all these huge steps first. And now it's like we're backtracking a little bit. And it's like, okay, like, let's go out on a date night. That's something we haven't been able to do.
You get to actually order a bottle of wine in front of a random person that you've never met before. And you can actually say his name and be like, this is my fiance. Is it weird for you to have bypassed the boyfriend and girlfriend phase and just go straight into fiance?
That's not as weird, because I felt like that's not as weird for whatever reason. It is weird. I would say the only thing is I always expected to live with my fiance before I had gotten engaged. So I think that would be the only thing. But we have spent, like you said, we spent so much time in quarantine that we know what it's like to live in an apartment together at this point.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like, as much as it sounds bizarre, you go through the boyfriend girlfriend stage on the beach.
Yeah.
And it's condensed into such a short amount of time, but it's like a really intense amount of time where you almost feel like you do go through those steps and you just get to engagement significantly faster than you would not in Paradise. But I mean, I do feel like we went through that stage. Like,
I do too. Yeah, I do. That's why I'm like I agree with you, Becca, when you say like this is the time where it really starts to feel real. But this is all felt somewhat normal. Like, our relationship has felt like a normal.
Normal is a strong word.
Okay, but then I don't have another word. Normal's the only one in my head right now.
I want to go back because I have a question for Serena, but Joe, you had mentioned seeing Serena in the atmosphere and dealing with the situation of your ex on the beach and kind of navigating that it attracted you more to her and how she handled that. Serena, watching Joe in his moments where, he had confronted Brendan and Piper on their situation and Chris on his situation, what did you feel seeing him take the lead in those moments?
Yeah, I mean, I was there for the Chris and Alana situation. I was sick the night Brendan and Piper went home. So I did miss that. I did get to watch that back with the rest of the viewers for the first time. But I mean, Joe has a friendship with Jessenia, and he has a very close, strong friendship with Natasha. So I definitely admire him kind of taking charge and standing up for his friends. You know, 2 women got really hurt, and he's not afraid to have those difficult conversations with people and be that kind of shoulder to lean on for those women that got hurt. So I'm friends with those people as well. And I think that, you know, Chris and Alana and Brendan and Piper leaving the beach gave Jessenia and Natasha the space to hopefully find love for themselves.
You know, with those people,
I like that.
You know, that was, when I look back at that whole situation, Chris and Alana, I do wish we would have handled a little better. I think we could have handled it not as intense, but it is what it is. In the Brendan Piper conversation, it was really just kind of like, okay, there are 2 stories here. So like, let's confront that, because it's ruining a lot of people's time now, because so much energy was put towards what's going on with Brendan and Piper, that it was just like, okay, enough's enough. And yeah, Natasha is a real friend of mine. So to see her go through that was tough, even though at the time I didn't really see all of it, you know, because I was also focusing on us.
You were focusing on a lot, not only having to be there for your friends, but focus on your relationship with Serena, also while dealing with navigating your ex on the beach and, you know, dealing with those types of conversations and how you and Serena interact in front of her, which I can't even imagine. That would have been, I mean, you guys went through the ringer in that. And I applaud both of you for how you handled it, and her as well. You all handled it so maturely. It's an uncomfortable, strange situation, but the way that the 3 of you all handled it, I think, is the best way anyone could have. It had the best outcome. I mean, especially for you 2. But was it hard for you to keep moving your relationship forward at all, knowing that Kendall was still there, seeing everything, and, you know, kind of being like, okay, is she around to see this? Like, what was that mindset like trying to progress your relationship forward while knowing she was still there?
When Kendall had first got there, like I really meant what I said. I wouldn't have went to Paradise if I wasn't over her. When she first got there, just because everything's so heightened in Paradise, it just seemed so intense. We also didn't sleep as much. So like that first moment, I was like, okay, this is going to be a little difficult. But truly, the next morning when I had breakfast with Serena, I was like, this isn't going to faze me at all. Like, this is my relationship. That's really all I care about right now. I'm not an evil person. So I want, if Kendall was upset, I was willing to be there for her and hear her out. But it didn't faze my relationship growing with Serena at all. I mean, I don't think so.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it was definitely uncomfortable at times, and there was an awareness of the situation, and awareness of, you know, her feelings. But at the same time, I would say it sped up the progression of our relationship, because it was such an intense situation right out of the gate that we really had to communicate through. So not only did it test our relationship and our commitment to each other, but it tested, like, you know, if we were going through a difficult time
as a team.
Yeah.
It was really, we really actually worked very well. Like it was nice.
That's the best way to put it. Like, it really tested our strength as a team. And I think I know you said, like, the way I handled it made you more attracted to me, and the way he handled it made me more attracted to him, and just feel like I could trust him, feel more comfortable in the relationship. And yeah, I just felt like we had the skills to handle that, and that was going to translate into situations in the outside world. And that made me feel really confident in the relationship.
Well, and it seemed like in those moments when you 2 would have conversations about it, I can imagine it would be easy to just focus on how you're feeling internally and why either one of you were hurt for your own individual specific reasons, but you were always checking in on the other. Like, one of the first things, Serena, you said during the proposal, when Joe told you that Kendall had walked down and, you know, surprised him that last day, your first reaction was, well, how are you doing? Like, it wasn't you getting upset and being like, oh no, should I be here? Like, what was that conversation? It was just, Joe, how are you?
Okay.
And and he does the same for you, which I think is something, like you said, you are a team and you do have that support system in one another, which is something really incredible.
Yeah, that's actually true. I kind of forgot I said that. But I mean, I think when it came down to it, I felt confident in our relationship and I didn't think anything was going to come between us at that time. And obviously, he was the one that had the relationship with Kendall. It wasn't me. So I kind of felt like my role in all of that, as much as I wanted to be honest with him about how everything made me feel, was to support him in any way I could.
That last, her coming down at the end, I thought I just was like, okay, at this point, I don't really care what you have to say in like the nicest way possible. Like this is just not the time.
Yeah.
Anymore, you know?
Well, and I can imagine for something so big as an engagement, you have your mind made up. Like that is set. And I would hope that nothing major would happen to sway that. So I think, you guys were both very cordial and I think she just had to say what she had to say. But at the end of the day, you were very still zoned in on what you were there to do in that moment. And that was to ask Serena to spend the rest of your lives together. The night before, though, obviously you guys went into the fantasy suites. And Joe, you made a comment the next morning saying, waking up the day after the fantasy suites, that you would probably be very in your head about what's to come and the engagement the next day. But with Serena, you actually said that you felt more at peace and calm. So what was the catalyst for making you feel so calm and just safe with her?
Yeah. And I also would say because of that feeling, that was a big reason why I did get down on one knee. Because ever since Serena and I said we were falling in love with each other, there was like this calming, peace, very confident feeling I had about her and our relationship. And I don't know exactly what it is. And I don't know if people are meant to be with each other or whatnot. But I think, not to sound corny or cliche, but I think it was just real love. And I was shocked that it did happen so fast. So yeah, I mean, that's why I felt that way.
And she beat you to the punch for the second time, saying, I love you.
That's my girl.
And then I one-upped her ass. So, I mean,
it was
she
very
said
cute.
a couple things.
In the episode, you said, it's my turn.
Yeah.
I'm doing this first.
Yeah.
Right. She even said to me at the end, she goes, did you just get engaged to me out of spite? So listen, I didn't have any other option.
It's a win-win either way.
Yeah.
Serena,
it all worked out.
Serena, I want to know from you, because you said that you didn't expect him to get down on one knee and actually propose. So I'm assuming you went into that moment having Joe be like, I love you, let's take this outside of paradise and see how we are in the real life and continue this relationship. Would you have been fine with that? Like, is that what I'm assuming, expected to happen?
Yeah. So, I mean, from the conversations we had, my expectation was we were going to go down, be like, here's my final rose. Here's my final rose. We love each other. Let's get out of here. And that was kind of what we had agreed upon leaving each other after fantasy suites, of like, we're just such logical people.
Gotcha.
Yeah, shocker. That's all went down. But I mean, I think, yeah, like the logical thing to do was like, this is crazy. This is so fast. Like, let's just, do the step-by-step thing and we'll get engaged down the line. So he definitely caught me off guard. But I mean, one of my best friends was like, it's actually so beautiful because you are so driven by logic in every part of your life. And you clearly wanted to say yes to this proposal, because if you didn't want to get engaged to him, you wouldn't have said yes. And I have absolutely no regrets to this day. I'm glad we're engaged. I'm glad I said yes. So she's like, it's really beautiful to see that this decision to be with Joe and to be engaged with him was just so like emotionally driven. Like, I got so emotional when we got down on one knee. I was so excited to say yes. I was obviously in complete shock, but I mean, I knew he was the one. It wasn't like I hadn't already imagined, one day us getting engaged. We just, he jumped the gun, did a little sooner than we planned.
But I also think every couple or everyone that goes on the show should, if they really love the person, should be okay if there isn't an engagement and it's just, hey, let's leave as a couple. Because like if Serena was like, either we get engaged or this is over, I'd be like, wow, I don't know how I feel about that. Well, I don't know where I'm going with this. Well, it sounded a lot better in my head.
Well, no, I get what you're saying. I think because I mean, and you were a couple that really since the very first week hit it off, and you were the strongest couple on that beach. I think it's different if you were in like a James and Anna situation where you had a date, you had this spark, this initial connection, but obviously you don't know each other for very long. So of course you're probably not going to leave together. But for somebody like you two who had spent so much time together, and I don't think people realize how much time you truly spend together. I know everyone's like, oh, it's only been, a couple of weeks, but it's like you were together day in and day out dealing with things that you probably wouldn't in normal daily life, and trying to navigate how you would navigate those things on a beach in very, very stressful, hard situations. And so it just, formed your, I would say it kind of sped up. It like put your relationship in a microwave in a way, which obviously helped because it got you to where you are now. Oh man, I was going to ask you something about that last day. Oh, Serena, this is what I wanted to say. You, I think, gave one of my favorite moments in an interview ever where watching you two exchange your I love yous and your sentiments to one another, it got both me and Tia choked up at times and gave us the chills. But you gave an interview where you were talking and then you kind of stopped and started crying and you were like, I didn't think I would feel this way. I didn't think I would get here. And the fact that like I'm allowing myself to feel all these things for him, it was just a really beautiful moment. It was one of the most beautiful interviews and words that I've ever seen anyone on the show express. And so, I can imagine what it's like having you two be together, sitting side by side, watching all of this unfold, watching what you two are saying about each other behind the scenes. What has that been like? Because you've obviously had conversations face to face, not only while you were on the beach, but also outside of that. But there's still so much that you don't know what was said about one another in your ITMs and in different interviews. So what has that been like to be able to watch that now together?
I mean, it's not normal by any means, but I would say it's like really romantic. I mean, Joe and I would say don't like profess our love for each other every single minute of every single day, as much as, we know that we love each other. So watching it back and remembering that time in our relationship where we're falling in love and seeing, us behind the scenes talking about each other, just kind of expressing our feelings, like, yeah, it's weird in a good way.
It's a gift. It's one of the gifts of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Have either of you said anything, and this is probably more for Serena, said anything that has pissed each other off?
I don't think so.
Okay, we are going to play very soon a newly engaged game, but I do want to know what's next for the two of you because, Serena, you live in Canada. Joe, you live in Chicago, which doesn't make things easy. So what's planned for the two of you, short term and long term?
Sure. So I would say, we have to figure out where we're going to live together right away. Not right away, but I have a lease that's up in April. And we had talked about it. So we are either going to possibly try New York together or split time between Chicago and Toronto. For the time being, that's what we're going to do is split time from Chicago and Toronto. But that's going to be our next big step would be moving in together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of just whatever makes sense for us in a couple months, both personally and professionally. So we both love New York. It's kind of a bit of like a neutral space where we're both making sacrifice to be there. But Toronto and Chicago are both great cities too. So, we don't have kids at the moment. So it's pretty easy and with our lifestyles to travel back and forth. So we're like, maybe we get place in Chicago, place in Toronto, and we do 50-50. I know our families would probably like that option, but we got a little bit of time.
What's nice is we're an hour away from every place we just mentioned, which makes it a lot nicer.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's nice.
ideally, the East Coast is where I would like to stay.
Okay. Oh, I love that. I have a feeling I already know how you both will answer this, but long-term or short-term engagement?
I mean,
Do you want me to answer? I would say mid-range.
yeah, that
Okay.
would be my answer too.
Mid-range on the longer side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like we're not rushing down the aisle, but I
Yeah.
mean, we definitely feel confident in the fact that we want to be together.
Right. Yeah, I mean, enjoy this moment. Your lives are about to change. There's just something now where doing life as a couple, because you were on the show and Bachelor Nation as a whole has such a big fan base. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be intense. So just really soak it in and enjoy it. These are the good days.
It'd be nice to just take a breath, date, live together, and then marriage will come down the line.
All right. So it's not Bachelor Happy Hour without our games. We love to have our games. So it's going to be a series of questions and you just both have to answer who in the relationship it applies to. So to start, who initiated your first kiss?
Me.
I did.
No.
Nope.
No, I
definitely.
baited you into it. I
You
baited you
did.
into it.
You did not. Yeah. No.
I
no.
did bait you into it because
I baited you into it by bringing you down there.
bring me down to the daybed?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm going to kiss you.
No, you did.
No, because I was laying there and I was like,
I
who
believe
do you
Serena.
think's going to be the first couple to kiss tonight? And
Yeah.
I was like, want it to be us? And I was like, I do. Let's make out.
Okay.
She
But
got
I made the
you.
move.
She got you, Joe.
You leaned in.
I
I'll give
love
it-
this.
I leaned in.
This should
I
be
like that.
such a simple game. And the fact that I hope every question is like this, like you guys are already the cute bickering couple.
Okay, next one. Who's the better cook?
I would have to say me. Yeah. I'd have to go me on that one.
I would go you on some dishes, but he overcooks chicken every time we make it because he's terrified of salmonella poisoning.
Mm.
So we've been eating dry chicken.
Mm.
But you are a good cook and you watch a lot of food shows and you're very knowledgeable about food. So I'll give you that.
Thank you. I'll accept it.
Compromise.
I'll take it. Who is more romantic?
Oof, I'd have to
Joe.
go me on that one too. Yeah. Looks like this is all going to be me.
I
but yeah.
definitely don't think that's the case. You're 2 for 3.
I love
Who's
this.
more stubborn?
Me.
Serena. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, I'm surprised by that.
You're
I am
pretty
too.
stubborn too, though. We're both pretty We're both stubborn, but good at compromise. I know that's like a contradiction, but
Yeah, but I would say that holds true. I like that. Yes.
It's because he loves you. Who is more messy?
oh, Joe,
Serena, yeah.
no, are you?
Serena.
I am so neat. I am so neat, so type A. You're clean. Like your apartment always smells good and it's clean, but you leave stuff everywhere. There's an empty surface. Joe finds a way to fill it with a hoodie or a t-shirt.
Mhm. I
Like
think
his
it's
closet is not. It's his whole apartment. It's his closet.
a guy thing.
I understand. No, I do it too.
But it's okay because I'm organized, so I can help you.
Sure. No, you are clean. You are.
Thank
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Who's the funny one?
Oh. I mean,
Absolutely.
I don't think that's really a question.
Oh.
You know.
We both think we're very funny.
Yeah.
So
It comes natural for me, but yeah, I would say me.
I miss being with you two so much. Oh my gosh. I want to
We
just
miss
fly
you
to
guys
Canada and
too.
hang out with you. Okay. Between the two of you, who spends more money?
Joe,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah,
like way more money.
On
Joe,
what?
on clothes, on beauty products, on
Socks.
socks and sandals.
Food. I have. That's probably my biggest downfall in life. Is I'm a bad spender.
I feel like
I've
last
always
time
been-
on Paradise, you had like Gucci shoes and all this Gucci
Oh,
shit,
yeah,
and I
she's
didn't
a
see
brand
any
whore.
of that this time.
He's a full blown brand whore.
No, I've taken it easy on the brands, but I definitely spend money on enjoying myself. Probably too much.
If he's spending it on me, I'm not gonna complain about it.
Who's the planner between the two of you?
We're
Mm.
both big planners,
Yeah,
to be honest.
I'm also. I do things sporadically, but I also plan.
No, I would say we're both planners. We're definitely both planners. I mean, honestly, we've had so much time sitting doing nothing that like all we do is sit and plan. Like, where do we want to go on our first trip, and where do we want to go for our first dinner? I would say Joe's definitely more spontaneous than I am, though.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
Okay.
the word.
Who is more competitive?
I'm not really a competitive person.
It's just you're lying to everyone right now.
You think I'm
Serena's
competitive?
face.
Yes, I think you're competitive.
I disagree. And I'm not. You think I'm a competitive person?
Not a bad thing.
This is a great
I don't think it's a
example.
bad- I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think that, okay, maybe, yeah.
I don't know. Who do you think's more competitive? Me?
I don't really
Neither
find
of
you
us
to
are,
be
like-
a super competitive
I guess
person
neither
either.
of us are crazy competitive.
So we're more chill, you know?
Who takes up more of the bed?
I'd say we are proportioned very well together on a bed.
Yeah.
You sleep in the middle?
No one really. I hog the covers and he snores a little bit and moves around a lot. But like we're like cuddle in the middle and then separate to each other's sides and then see you in the morning kind of people.
I feel like I know the answer to this one, but who takes longer to get ready?
I'd say we actually both get ready pretty quick.
Yeah. I mean,
Probably Serena, because she's got to put makeup on if we want to go out.
Mhm.
yeah, like I have more hair to work
Yeah.
with and more makeup, but Joe changes his outfit like 6 times. So
Well, we saw
It
it
ends up
before the
balancing
podcast started.
That's false.
Who is more likely to cry on your wedding day?
oh, me. Hands down. I'll be a mess. I mean, I was a mess the entire day leading up to the engagement. I didn't even know I was getting engaged. So yeah. You gonna cry on your wedding day?
No, I hope not.
I hope so.
He will. I think 1 to 7 tears will be shed.
Wouldn't
Why does-
I'll tell you what, it wouldn't shock me at this point.
Joe, are you a crier? Do you cry?
Every time I say I don't, I find myself crying somewhere. So no, I don't think I'm a big crier.
Joe's
I would say I'm somewhat of I'm pretty in tune with my emotions, but I wouldn't say I'm a crier.
Okay, last question. Who is always right?
Me.
Me.
Okay.
We
that was
actually agree
good.
on a lot, so that makes it very simple, but we do both think we're always right.
Mhm. I get it. All right, you two. That is the end of the game. This is the end of your paradise chapter, if you will. I can't wait to see where the rest of your life takes you both.
Thanks so much for having us, guys. This is our first interview that we've done together.
Yes.
This is really
So
fun.
excited.
This has been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Joe, can you plug us? Tell us where you can find us.
Oh, yeah. So you could find me at Joe Mobley 1 on Instagram. You could hear me host a lovely podcast at Clickbait. You can find me on, I now have TikTok. I have 7 followers. That is Joe Mobley.
Okay, Joe, I love you. Shut up.
_ Mobley 1. You can find me on Twitter at Mobley Joe and
Play your sauce.
my sauce Sundays@joe.com.
Which is delicious, by the way. This is the content people need.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Sundays
need some of
with,
that.
wait, is it Sundays?
With
Sundays
Joe.
with
With Joe.
Joe.com. Sundays with Joe.
Sundays with Joe.
And Serena?
You can find me on Instagram at Serena_Pitt. I believe TikTok and Twitter is the same. So
All
make it
right.
nice and simple for you guys.
You two, go enjoy your life. Go out, go be merry, go shout this from the rooftops. Congratulations, and we love you both so, so much.
Thank you. This has been a blast.
Oh my gosh, that was such... They are just the funniest couple to me. I love them both so much. I'm glad that we were able to have them on today.
Same. I'm so glad we had them. They're just the cutest, sweetest. It's very rare for things to make me emotional on this franchise anymore, but they do it.
Mm-hmm. And you know
So
what?
sweet.
Like just having them on, we saw them firsthand for that month that we lived with them. Just such a great, inspiring, cute, respectful relationship. But just having them on now, you can just see such a change of how much more they know each other, how much more they love each other. Just the banter back and forth is something so incredible to see. So, I mean, Tia, all I got to say is we better get invites to that wedding one day.
No joke. I'm so ready for some bachelor weddings.
Oh yeah, it's been a while. So one of these 3 couples, come on, let's hop on it. We need a good party. Tia and I were at the last one together, drinking way too much tequila at the bar, and we need this again. So, Tia, I have had such a blast having you on the podcast for these past few weeks. Please come back
Wait,
anytime.
this is kind of sad.
It is kind of sad, I know. Well, I'm going to see you soon. I'm going to be in Nashville very soon, so I'll see you. But
sure. This has
but,
been so fun.
it's been
So
such
fun.
such a blast. And just the fact that we were able to not only live through that, but then be able to recap it together. It's something I think that's never been done in a Bachelor podcast before. So I just feel really lucky, really grateful that you were by my side the entire time. I could not have done any of it without you. I absolutely love you.
Thank you so much for having me. I know I don't talk very much, but you're really great at what you do.
No, you
lead
do.
the way,
you
honey.
do.
I like to be your support. I'll be there any day for you.
Well, you know what? Here, I'm going to give you some prep because this is your last Bachelor Happy Hour podcast. It might not be your last podcast ever. So, Tia, please do the honors of closing out the show today.
Make sure to hit us up on social at Bachelor Happy Hour on Instagram, at Batch Nation on Twitter, and Bachelor Nation on Facebook. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Wondery app, or wherever you're listening right now.
Thanks, everyone.